Hey friends, welcome back to OG Universe. Today on the turntable, we're taking a look at the Gold Label Mcfarlane Toys DC Myltiverse Atomic Skull versus Superman. So in Canada, this was a Walmart.ca exclusive, but it was also available in stores at GameStop. It wasn't available for pre-order, but just available in the store. So it's a weird anomaly to try and get this, but you have two options if you live in Canada. Hopefully your GameStop has this set, or you can order it off of Walmart.ca. Now let's take a quick look at the packaging. Now the packaging, a little disappointing, because all you got is this clamshell, or not even a clamshell, this is a black box. No clamshell, no window box. You got the little Gold Label exclusive logo. You got some nice artwork on the back of Superman and Atomic Skull, but you don't know what Superman you're getting. So if you're a person that didn't do any research and just went in, saw this, what Superman are you getting? You're gonna be disappointed, maybe, happy, yeah, for the most part, I think you're gonna be. But you also get some effect pieces here and some other accessories. So you get this large flaming base. So all these two packs are nicely equipped with some sort of display base. This one has a couple pigs to attach your figures on. Right where my thumb is, there's a small pig there. And then all the way back here, right where my thumb is, there's another pig, and that's it. Now, it does seem like this is almost removable. It seems like some of the parts and sections did come off. And I was kind of playing around with it, but I pushed it in pretty good, and it's not coming off anymore. So, but this base was used with the White Knight Batman and Azrael 2-pack in traditional flame colors, but this is in that flaming purplish pink atomic skull color, which is pretty damn cool. But I don't think I'll be using this to display my figures, because I tried to put them on here and man, I almost broke this pig off. Thankfully, these pegs come right off, so if it happens to pop off, you are able to put it back on, but just be really careful when you're applying pressure, because it is not the toughest plastic. It's a little bit brittle, so be careful. You also get a couple extra set of hands for Atomic Skull and Superman. You get two fists for Atomic Skull, two open flight hands for Superman, display bases, and artwork, or excuse me, trading cards with the same artwork on the back. So there you go for accessories. And you get these two figures here. Now these two figures are pretty interesting. So I want to start off with Atomic Skull. Now Atomic Skull, one of the Superman's more powerful, iconic villains. He's been in the comics quite a bit. Haven't really seen him in action figure form very often. He was used in Justice League Unlimited as kind of a throwaway character. Didn't have a real presence to him. But I think this figure was going to change some people's minds. I really like this figure. It's one of the most impressive kind of repaints, retooling of some figures. It does have an absolutely amazing head sculpt. Very Ghost Rider. I mean, if you want to use this as a Ghost Rider head sculpt, slap some white paint and change the flame colors, you could have a pretty interesting Ghost Rider. But it's like a cross between Ghost Rider and Iron Man is what Atomic Skull reminds me of. The way he's positioned with like an arc reactor almost like right there, shoulder pads. But this is definitely a freaking awesome looking figure. The metallic purple paint is absolutely eye-catching. It's going to stand out on your shelf for sure. This pink fuchsia, it's not too bad either. Now he is sharing some body parts with some of the Power Suit Lex Luthor figures. Now the legs definitely have that Power Suit legs, definitely. The chest looks like it's reworked, brand new. The shoulder pads here as well. The arm gauntlets, I believe, are newer. The hands are really nice. I like these effect hands. They're really cool, blasting effects. This, he has like a smoking fist, and it's nice that's not an overlay that goes on top of a hand. The entire hand is cast in this translucent plastic, and it looks really nice. On the back here too, tons of detail work. This torso back piece is definitely from the Throne of Apocalypse Lex Luthor. But yeah, really sharp looking figure. I'm gonna run down some articulation and the head sculpt here. You know, he's got some side attitude going on. Look up, down. Now these are a little sharp, so be careful. They're not super sharp like the Green Lantern vampire figure. That has some sharp pieces. Beast Boy's forearms are damn sharp. These are still a little prickly, not too bad though, so be careful. Now with this shoulder piece here, it's like a not a hard plastic, but it's a little bit softer, a little bit pliable, but it does limit some of the articulation. So you're not going to get the huge range of motion in the shoulder. It does have the butterfly hinge, the bicep cut, and double jointed ratcheted elbows. Ball joints at the wrist with quite a bit of articulation. It's nicely hidden by this gauntlet as well. Now the torso articulation is a little disappointing, so it doesn't have a lot of movement, but guess what? We can fix that. I think this has the same situation as a Superman Hush infected body buck. The torso has that neck, or excuse me, that peg that's right here. It's pushed in a little too high. Boil and pop, move that peg down a little bit. You're gonna get more articulation in that torso. Ball joints at the hips, double jointed ratcheted knees, the toe articulation, pivot, ball joint, everything is there for the ankle. And the ball joint is nicely hidden by the boot as well. Really good. Yeah, this is definitely an impressive, imposing figure. He looks like he could go toe-to-toe with Superman. That's what I like about it. And we'll take a look at the Throne of Apocalypse Lex Luthor. He does share some similar qualities. The legs, like I said, the thighs, of course, this is different. The feet are different as well. He has a little bit more detail on his feet, but when you take a look at the gauntlets, they're completely different. The back is exactly the same. That spine, the butt, he has a little bit of this extra embellishment here, but very similar figures. And when you put these two together, back to back, Atomic Skull is a bit bigger and a bit beefier. But I really like having these two figures together. We're filling out that Superman Rose Gallery, which is always a welcome addition to my collection. I love having extra villains, especially for Superman, not just Batman. It's great to have some villains for the Superman as well. So let's move out this guy. Let's add another figure. So here we got our Superman for the Hush infected body. Like, I haven't done much to this figure. Didn't do the torso extension. The head, we added the taller neck joint. But these two guys together will look really good on your shelf. And when you're comparing the height as well, Atomic Skull is a little bit bigger, which I like, because he's a big, bulky character, so I wouldn't mind him being a bit bigger than Superman, so you can throw down with them. But yeah, these two guys look really good. And then if we wanted to add another character here, we got Lobo. Imagine these two guys on a team coming to Metropolis to take down Superman. That would be really cool. Really excited for that new Lobo figure that's coming out November, December. It's a 2-pack with his Space Hog and his little bulldog dog. He's got an extra head sculpt, some extra accessories. So Mcfarlane starting to listen. We're giving some extra accessories, which we really, really want in this figure lineup, in this figure entire universe. So great to see that. He's listening. And then we'll put him next to my definitive Superman here with the torso extension and the new extended ball peg in the neck as well. These two guys together, a little bit closer, but yeah, Atomic Skull still stands higher than the Superman, which I like. So yeah, this Atomic Skull is definitely a very good figure to add to your collection. I'm very happy to have it. Now let's take a look at Superman. So this Superman is based on the Action Comics 1000 body buck. So it's a slimmer Superman compared to that Hush infected body buck, which we've seen for quite a while. So it kind of threw me off when I got this figure. Now, I do have the Red Sun Superman, which came out, I believe, in 2020, 2021, probably 2020. And when I opened this figure, I wasn't impressed whatsoever. It just didn't do it for me. The body buck, the thin proportions, the janky articulation it had, it was really stiff joints, loosening it up a bit. It still just didn't do it for me. The head sculpt as well. I've seen a lot of people use this head sculpt for Superman, and it's great for Red Sun. I don't see Superman though. This is definitely a more evil Superman. The logo here is really nice, but it just seems a little flat. I mean, I would have preferred him in his, like, I think his kind of President Superman, Red Sun Superman, where he's a bit more embellished in that military uniform. I think that would have looked cooler, especially with the Brainiac skull. That would have been awesome. But maybe down the line we'll see that. But seeing these two together, this figure, I just brought him out for the review. He's been opened once, put in his package, and that was about it. Wasn't impressed. But this Superman is definitely world apart. Definitely way better than the Red Sun, in my opinion. Articulation flows, the color scheme, the head sculpt, the cape especially. I don't like this cape. It's shorter. This cape actually shares the exact same cape. This cape is the exact same, excuse me, as this one here. Very, very similar. It just seems like this is tucked in more, so that this one is just pushed out. So if you put it like that, you're looking at almost an identical cape. Very, very similar. So yeah, but this figure, it's not too bad. Has some good proportions in the sense that the head looks pretty good for the red sun. The slimmer body line isn't too bad, but considering the Hush one, man, I just like that one a lot better. And in comparison, we'll take a look at this one here. So this is, again, the non-torso affected Superman. We get these two guys together. There is a slight difference in shades. This one is a darker tone. This is a bit lighter. The yellow is a bit brighter as well, it seems. It's not as muted as this one, which is still quite a bright color. The red seems a little bit brighter on this Superman, in the trunks, the boots, the cape. But the torso one here seems, or excuse me, the logo seems a little bit brighter in person on this one. This has a little bit of a darker tone and stretched out more across his chest. So comparing these two figures, you know, the capes as well. I like the one on Action Comics, but I love having that logo on the back. That's, you gotta have that on your Superman figure, in my opinion. I think it looks really good. And then comparing it to my definitive Superman, you know, we got a height difference for sure. That extended torso really does make a bit of a difference here when you see these two guys together. This one towers over this guy. And I'm thinking if I want to do any kind of work on this one. I don't know if I really do. I think the proportions look pretty good for this figure. And just playing around with it a bit, it's not mind-blowing, but it's not terrible. And this is a G1 Superman. So this is the first Superman from the first wave that came out back in 2020. In fact, I still have the Action Comics Superman. He's still in the package. I never got around to opening him up. But I thought they would have the exact same head sculpt, and it looks like these two don't, to a degree. The hair looks very similar with that S-curl, but the face is definitely painted differently on this one, on the new 2-pack figure. Just slight differences, the darker tone for the suit, the red. This one had a metallic logo, which is still really nice. And yeah, is a slightly different figure, which we kind of expect with these 2-packs. There are going to be some repacks, there are going to be some modifications, but overall, this is a pretty good standalone figure for Superman. If you don't have that Action Comics Superman 1000, excuse me, you want that, this is a great alternative. So, I'll take a little bit of a closer look. It does have this really sharp looking head sculpt. Very clean cut. This is a Superman that I would probably use for my JSA lineup, or JSA, my Justice League, excuse me, JLA lineup. And I just like how it's a more clean cut, brighter colors, kind of resonates with that kind of superhero spotlight team. But the head sculpt, again, really nicely done. Definitely has that look. Different paint job though, which sets it apart from the original release. And the articulation on this guy does have some side attitude, can look up pretty good for some flight poses. Look down quite a bit as well. Does have the shoulder spacer, really nice tight joints, nothing loose. You got a bicep cut here, single jointed elbows. So that was different back then. You only had the single joint. You do have the ball joint at the wrist. Now for the torso articulation, not much going on. It can look down pretty good. Okay, but we go back to not much going on for backwards. You have a waist ball joint as well. Ball joint at the hips. Now this I thought was kind of weird. He does have kind of a thicker midsection, right? And it's very tough, very rigid. Legs, I don't know, from the side it looks good. It looks wider, musculature is right there, but it just seems a little thin going through the thigh. I don't know, they could have bulked that up a little bit. I think it would have been a bit more impressive for the overall sculpt, but he does have a ball joint there, double jointed ratcheted knee joints. Really ugly G1 ball joints here. I don't like how it's a different color from the boot. You have the toe articulation, side rocker movement, everything you'd want. It's all there in this G1 style Superman. Now what really kind of reminded me when I saw this Superman is the Superman from this here. This is the Ruby Spears Superman animated series. Really like this series. This was done back in the 80s. And it kind of reminds me of this Superman for some reason. I don't know. This or like the Super Friends. It's got that lighter tone of blue. And it just kind of reminds me of that kind of Superman. So yeah, this was a fun series. I really enjoyed that. I have a massive collection of 80s animated series. I love collecting that stuff. I always thought it was kind of cool. I was a young lad at the time, so getting these as an adult and we're watching the shows I watched Saturday mornings as a young kid. It was pretty fun. But yeah, this is a great looking Superman. Let's compare him with some other figures. So this one here is my very first DC Mcfarlane DC Myltiverse figure. This is the Detective Comics 1000 Batman, which doesn't look like a Detective Comics 1000 Batman. Extremely stylization. This is more of an animated series stylized Batman from my collection. But seeing these two guys together, this would have been your first, really, I think 2 figures that came out in the wave. I remember Toys R Us got a ton of these two guys, and we were waiting, where's Robin? Where's the Batman Who Laughs? And the Batgirl to build a wave of the Batmobile. So these were the 2 guys that first came out. I picked them both up. Opened up the Batman, never opened up Superman for some reason, but then as Red Sun came along, I thought, man, this isn't the best figure. I'll wait till there's a better one. And they've made tons of Supermans and some really good ones. So seeing these 2 guys together, yeah, this would have been your first 2 figures coming out here in Canada at Toys R Us. I remember picking these up. So yeah, very interesting to see these 2 guys together. Even back then, you know, Superman sized up okay. He's almost the same height. Batman's just a little bit taller, but I think these 2 guys would have worked good on your shelf for a starter. Superman and Batman. And we'll compare this guy against another figure here I like to size up with, and that's with Lobo. Those 2 guys look really good together too. Definitely see these guys clashing. So yeah, overall, I think this is a very interesting 2-pack. If you're on the fence, I would definitely jump at it when it's on maybe on sale or on clearance. The Atomic Skull is 100% worth getting. He is fantastic. One of the coolest looking figures. You can't really tell it's a repaint because they did a lot of retooling in the chest. The extra hands really work for this figure. And that head sculpt is damn good. The Superman, you know, it's a reuse of a G1 body buck, but it's not too bad. The double jointed elbows would have been appreciated just to give him a bit more motion, but the head sculpt's really nice. The repainted color scheme, that lighter tone, I think it looks really good. And it's a classic Superman. So there you go, guys. If you're interested, go for it. Hold off on a sale, but I think you're not going to be disappointed picking up these 2 figures. All right, thanks so much for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think. And if you're going to be picking up these guys, and who's better, the Atomic Skull or the Superman in this figure pack? I'd like to hear that in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.